For every 100-kilometer distance in India, there is a change in language, there is a change in religion, there is a change in dress, there is a change in food, there is a change in race, there is a change in everything, so on and so forth. This is the diversity. There is a huge diversity, tremendous diversity. Nowhere we can find such a kind of diversity on the earth surface. We have 6 more countries larger than India. Russia, Brazil, United States of America, Australia, China, etc., etc. Nowhere we can find such a kind of huge diversity, tremendous diversity. In this aspect, India is a matchless, unrivaled. India is India, no parallel. Such a huge diversity. If anyone travels from Kanyakumari to up to Ladakh area, okay, around 3,204 kilometer distance, they will say that India is not a single country, because they have to come across, okay, huge languages, highly diversified things, include climate, such a huge diversity, continental in size, but however, it is underlined by a unity, like a butter in milk, okay. This kind of unity nobody can form. Even Indians also, they can feel, they can't express. In this way, India is an epitome of unity in diversity. India is an epitome of unity in diversity, cultural diversity. Okay, this cultural diversity is underlined by a unifying force. Do you know what is that unifying force? You know, there has been a huge linguistic. So according to census report 1951, there are around 1652 languages are there in India. According to UNESCO report, this is the second highest linguistic diversity next to Papua New Guinea. Okay, leave it this Papua New Guinea. It's not a huge state, like a huge country. So in this aspect, India is unparalleled in terms of linguistic diversity. This linguistic diversity is underlined by a unifying force. Do you know what is that unifying force? But though you come across voluminous books, hundreds of books, we can't find what is unity in India. You know, surprisingly, out of these 1652 languages, linguistic diversity, the unifying force which is connecting, which is made as a single whole, this all linguistic, is a Sanskrit. For example, even in Tamil language also, we have around 30% of these terms from the Sanskrit. In other languages, around 62 up to 82% words are Sanskrit, from Sanskrit. In this way, this Sanskrit, though now it is a minor, a small language, it is there in almost all languages of India. So in this way, it is acting as a lingua franca. It is a unifying force. Out of the centrifugal forces of huge languages, the Sanskrit is a centrifugal force. So unity in diversity. In terms of religions, huge number of religions, almost all major religions of the earth are there in India, include Christian, now almost all major religions. India is a hotbed of religions. Okay, out of these religions, what is the unifying force which is connecting India? You know, these Indians, though whatever that race came to India, settled down India, whatever that major religions from outside came to India, they are melting down. That is why India is known as a melting pot of the earth. It is a melting pot. That is what synthesis. Okay, Vivekananda in 1893, he addressed, while addressing the multi-religious conference in Chicago in September 1893, he describes how India has been synthesized since ages, since immemorial time. You know, he used one term that is most important to understand India. Of course, it can define, to a great extent, it can define what is synthesis of Indian DNA. You know, he declared, he revealed, unraveled the mystery of Indian synthesis process. Okay, since ages, the process is, India has a mighty skill, that is the assimilation skills. Even the Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan explained about this assimilation skill in his Hindu view of life and cultural history of India in 2 volumes. Okay, what is assimilation power? India is always open for everything. It is affable, almost like a affable personality. It is adopted everything. It never feared from outside culture, outside religion, outside races, etc., etc. since ages, almost 10,000 BC onwards, even before also, we have the evidences that India has been receiving wave after wave of these various races. That's why India is known as anthropological museum. Almost all 7 major races of the earth we have in India. Okay, India has been melting down these all races. Now, these all racial DNAs have been melted down and it is synthesized into a single DNA that is known as Indian DNA. See, imagine this kind of this synthesis process on Indian soil. Why it has happened only on Indian soil? Nowhere we can't find such things. It's absolutely. This is what India, this is the synthesis of India, synthesis of Indian DNA. It has happened. According to Vivekananda, this is the assimilation skill. For example, he told in this aspect that Buddhism, once at one point of time the Buddha and Buddhism and shaked the very foundations of its native religion, that is the Hinduism, from where in fact from where the Buddhism emanated. Okay, this Buddha has challenged the Buddhism. However, after few centuries, within 2 to 3 centuries, the same Buddhism, okay, melt down into this Hinduism. Now, no Buddhism in India on Indian soil. However, the Buddhism is there in the overall eastern hemisphere of the earth. The Buddhism is simply merged with this Hinduism. That's what Indian culture. Now, Buddha is a 10th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So it is a surprising. Vivekananda explained it. How India can synthesize. It's the best example. It can adopt the good things from the Christianity. It can adopt good things from the Islam. It can adopt good things from Jainism. It can adopt like truth and non-violence from this Buddhism. Okay, it can adopt the good things from the various races. Okay, in this aspect it has been synthesizing. You may be surprised why it has happened in only on Indian soil. It's a geography. The secret is its geography. Indian landmass, it's a continental in size, around 3.2 million square kilometer. It simply lies in between the third largest ocean, Indian Ocean, and the mightiest Himalayas. In between these two mighty geographical, physiographic features, this Indian subcontinent lies. It's just like a mother's lap. Okay, imagine just north of the Himalayas, we have cold desert, no man land. That is the Tibetan plateau. It's around Indian size, more than Indian size. Just look at the south of the Himalayas. The world's highest density, populous demographic density area, that's Indus Plain. Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra plains. Imagine this one, that Himalayas, without Himalayas, we can't imagine India. That's why, because of this why, these Himalayas are known as soul and body of India. The Indian plains, that is a plain area, around 25% of area, however, it accounts for 50% of Indian population. In fact, this present Indian civilization is nothing but the plain, Ganga plain civilization. Earlier, Indus Valley civilization. It has been surviving uninterruptedly. Surprisingly, it is uninterruptedly. We have only two civilizations on the earth, that is the Chinese civilization and Indian civilization. No other civilization. In what term? For example, India. India is one of the oldest civilizations on the earth and uninterrupted civilization since its inception. Okay, and it is a living civilization. Third, it is an uninterrupted, one of the oldest and one of the living civilizations on the earth. Such a huge civilization, it has been surviving since its inception, since immemorial. It way back around 10,000 BC. At that time, the modern agriculture and shuttle life started. Since then, it has been never been uninterrupted. It has been never been interrupted by anything. For example, during the British time, it is plummeted to lowest position, Indian civilization. However, it has started its revival. Now it is the 5th largest economy. Such a huge diversity. For example, in terms of geography, we have almost all physiographic regions of the earth. Okay, in terms of climate, simply we can't call Indian climate as Indian climate. Indian climates, because we have almost all climates of the earth we can see in India. For example, from the polar climate in the polar Siachen glacier to Ladakh area to up to equatorial climate, like in the southern part of the India and Andaman and Nicobar island area. We have almost all types of the climates. We have almost all types of the physiographic regions. And in fact, this physiographic diversity is being unified by its location in between the Himalayas and this one. That is what the unifying force. And in fact, almost all climates of the earth we have. Of course, there is what is the unifying force behind this almost all climates? This monsoonal climate. By the time of the June 1st, India is waiting. Okay, Indian nature is waiting. Even rocks, trees, farmers, prime minister, everybody is looking at the sky. That's what Indian monsoon. Indian monsoon is unifying Indian climate. So pedology, in terms of soils, we have almost all types of the soils. So this kind of physiography, climate and pedology and forest vegetation is reflected in the food diversity, almost all types of the crops. Okay, almost all types of the crop can accommodate almost all races of the earth. So this physiography, climate is penetrated into social, cultural and political life and everything. In every manner we have diversity. This kind of huge diversity since ages, since millennium has been synthesized into a single DNA. Now wherever, for example, I am applying this DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. This is the DNA in humans is 99% of same. But every cell in a DNA has a different kind, unique to every personality. Like this, every personality is unique, but however, 99% of this thought process and everything is common in India. That's why we are Indian DNA. We have Indian DNA rather than our own DNA. So that is why Indian DNA is a perfect word to describe India. But one thing is important here. In fact, nobody can describe India. What is India? India is not a mere name. It's a concept. It's a concept. There is a pulse. This India is a soch. India is a concept. Nobody can describe. In fact, indeed, the human created language, no language can describe what is India. For example, I would like to give you an analogy. Can anyone describe what is motherhood? We can feel motherhood, but we can't describe. Like this, we can feel India. We can feel India. Everybody can feel India in Indian soil. But however, nobody can describe India. So this is what India. India is India. No parallel example. Okay, it has been surviving. Okay, it has been living without interruption. It is one of the oldest civilization. It will live. Okay, it can survive until the mountains and the stars and suns are there. Okay, this is what the aspect of India. India is India. We should proud to be an Indian.